Hi, this is Geert-Jan from the NetBeans team. In this screencast I'm going to show you how to change these tabs, to rewrite these tabs to something completely different in NetBeans IDE 7.2. Because in the NetBeans 7.2 API changes list, one can see on January 25 that there's been a change in the org NetBeans Swing tab control module, which is the module defining, among other things, the tabs in NetBeans IDE and NetBeans Platform applications. There's been a change there, allowing for custom implementations of the tab control. And you can see that there is a new class, a new TabbedComponentFactory class, that allows custom implementations of tab control to be used in the Windows system. Okay, and the interesting thing is that a couple of years ago a blog entry was written in this blog, UIs in Java Swing, about different tabbed UIs, tabbed pane UIs, as you can see here. I'm going to take one of these tabbed pane UIs, this one, plastic tab pane UI, which is tabs like this, and I'm choosing this because it looks distinctly different to what NetBeans IDE has by default, and use this class to define the tab pane UI of the NetBeans IDE's own tabs that you see here. So, to get started, create a new NetBeans module, and we'll call it, let's put it somewhere. I'm going to put it somewhere. Try and find my NetBeans project location, which is in here. NetBeans projects. Okay, put it in there and give it the name plastic. It's going to be plastic tabbed pane for NetBeans. Click next. Org demo plastic tab. Click finish. And there is the module being created. And now let's code the module. The TabbedComponentFactory class belongs to some module that we need to add to our own module as a dependency. So I'm just looking for it now. It's taking a while to be found. There it is, tab control. Here we have tab control. And now we create our new Java class. Plastic tabbed pane, and actually you can see what class we're going to be using. It's TabbedComponentFactory, so plastic tabbed component factory. Here it is. This class implements TabbedComponentFactory, and TabbedComponentFactory returns, as you see here, a class called tabbed, which comes from the tab control module that we just created, and that we just added as a dependency. And now we start typing. First of all, we use a JTabPane adapter class, which comes from the NetBeans Core Windows module, and this will just let us conveniently create and return a new tabbed class. We could create it ourselves, but we're going to set a dependency, an implementation dependency, on the Core Windows module so that we can use this class conveniently from there rather than having to recreate it ourselves. It has as a disadvantage that we'll only be able to use this module inside this particular version of NetBeans IDE, so that's NetBeans IDE 7.2 beta, because we're dependent on not on the publicly exposed APIs, but on the implementation classes within the module. But at least we are aware that we're doing that. So here we go. Add the import statement, give it some name, and there we have JTAB pane adapter, which returns a tabbed. So this is what we need to return. So basically we have fulfilled the requirements of this mandatory method that you must implement when you're implementing the TabbedComponentFactory. Next, we want to register this, because the way that the TabbedComponentFactory works is it needs to be registered in the metainf services folder, which requires, or which can be conveniently used via a annotation. So this is not a requirement, but it certainly makes things easier that we can tab service provider and then pass in, once we have the import statement, pass in service as an attribute, TabbedComponentFactory. Can we do that here? Yes, class, and set a position. So I want to set a really low position to make sure that I'm overriding the existing TabbedComponentFactory that NetBeans IDE itself provides. So I'm sure it can't be as low as 0. We could check in the sources just to make sure, but for the moment we'll assume that 0 is not something that is being used, which means that we're lower than the one that is being used, and therefore we will override it. We could also use supersedes if we knew the name of that class, but in this case, as a first attempt, the position should be enough. Now we say set UI, and here is where we can just pass in any of these interesting classes that are provided here. So one of these is plastic tab pane UI. I'll click on this, it opens a class, I go to view source, and here is this whole interesting source file. So copy this, return to NetBeans IDE, and I'll say new tabbed pane UI, which doesn't exist. Sorry, not tabbed pane UI, but plastic tab pane UI. So we'll create this class. Here it is, based in all of this. And well, if we look back at this class here, there is at least some blue. So let's have a quick look. So here you can see where the blue is set. So this is the actual coloring part, the painting the tab background. And there's also some shapes being provided, calculating the width, the heights, the tab border. And that's the majority of this class. The rest, painting the tab area itself, the label, and creating the UI, and the basic, using the basic tab pane UI class, which is a standard class from the JDK, coming from the JavaX Swing classes. Okay, so that's it. Now we're going to install this module into the running NetBeans IDE. Install it. Okay, now it makes sense to want to actually restart. Maybe we can do this inside our module. We can specify that this should be restarted upon installation, build, packaging, needs restart to install. So this will be the 1.1 version of our module. Install, reload, and development IDE. Okay, during development it's not actually going to do the restart for us, but that's something that is going to be necessary for the end users using this plugin. Now we restart NetBeans IDE and we see, well, definitely our tabs are completely different to what they were before. Whether you like them or not is a different story, but the fact that with very little coding and actually simply the integration between the standard Swing tab pane UI and the NetBeans platform, in this case NetBeans IDE, is not very difficult. If you know how to do the creation of tab pane UIs and standard Swing, this is how you would integrate them into NetBeans IDE or into any other NetBeans platform application, with the result that you see here. You could also get the tabs, for example, from IDE. They have some pretty nice tabbed components that you could integrate into your NetBeans platform-based application. Okay, that's it. That was the point of this screencast, to show you how quickly and easily you can get started with doing cool stuff like this. Hope you enjoy it.